Commander Gray stood at the observation window of Europa Station, his tall, slender frame casting a long shadow across the icy surface below. His four eyes blinked in sequence as he studied the latest report about Earth's space activities. The blue planet hung like a distant marble in the black void, seemingly peaceful and primitive from this far away. Another failed launch attempt by the humans, he muttered, setting down his datapad. The screen displayed footage of a rocket explosion at a launch site in what the humans call Texas. Third one this month. Officer Reed entered the monitoring room, her metallic skin reflecting the soft blue light from the holographic displays. "Commander, the Daily Earth report is ready for your review." Gray nodded, accepting another datapad. The Coalition had maintained this observation post on Europa for over 200 years, watching and documenting humanity's slow crawl toward the stars. It was a boring assignment, but someone had to do it. "Let's see," he said, scrolling through the information. Primitive chemical rockets, still struggling with radiation shielding. No significant improvements in propulsion technology. He shook his head. At this rate, they won't achieve practical interplanetary travel for at least another century. Reed moved to the main display terminal, bringing up a map of Earth's orbital space. Hundreds of small dots represented the debris of failed satellites and spacecraft. "Their orbit is becoming quite cluttered, Commander. Perhaps we should consider initiating cleanup protocols." "No," Gray replied firmly. "The Coalition's policy is clear. No interference until they achieve FTL capability on their own. They must overcome these challenges themselves." He paused, watching a particularly large piece of debris tumble past one of their cloaked monitoring satellites. The station's AI chimed in with its daily update. Earth population has increased by approximately 150,000 since yesterday's report. Current global conflicts. 27. Space program funding. Decreased by 2.3% globally. Probability of achieving interstellar travel in the next 50 years. Less than 0.01%. Gray walked to the station's main window, looking out at the vast expanse of space between Europa and Earth. The humans were interesting creatures, resilient, creative at times, but ultimately limited by their short lifespans and divided planetary government. The Coalition had seen many species like them before. "Commander," Reed called out suddenly, "I'm detecting unusual energy readings from the lunar surface." Gray turned, mild curiosity showing on his face. Probably another one of their primitive mining operations. They've been sending those small robots to the moon lately. "This signature is different," Reed insisted, adjusting the sensors. Wait, it's gone now." She frowned, her metallic features shifting. "That's the third anomalous reading this month. Log it in the daily report," Gray ordered, returning to his usual spot by the monitoring station. "Probably just sensor ghosts from solar activity. The humans are still figuring out how to live in space stations. They can barely maintain their orbital platforms." The rest of the day passed as usual. Gray watched the humans launch another small satellite, monitored their global communications, and filed his regular report to Coalition headquarters. Everything indicated a species still in its technological infancy. As his shift ended, Gray made one final log entry. Earth Observation Report, Day 73,459. The humans continue their primitive attempts at space exploration. While they show remarkable persistence, their technological progress remains slow and methodical. Their reliance on chemical propulsion and their inability to solve basic problems of long-term space habitation suggests they will remain planet-bound for the foreseeable future. Recommendation: maintain current observation protocols. No direct contact necessary for at least another century. He looked one last time at the distant Earth before heading to his quarters. The humans were safe, predictable, and stuck on their little blue world. Just another primitive species slowly making their way to the stars. Little did Commander Gray know that deep beneath the Earth's surface, in hidden facilities across the globe, Humanity was about to prove just how wrong those assumptions were. 3 miles beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Stone walked through a massive underground hangar that officially didn't exist. Above him, a ship longer than 3 football fields hung suspended in magnetic clamps. Its dark hull absorbed the light, making it look like a hole cut into reality itself. "Status report," he called out to his chief engineer. Tom Miller looked up from his control panel, his weathered face reflecting the blue glow of multiple screens. "Quantum drive is running at 98% efficiency, sir. The new shielding held up perfectly in the last test." The Admiral nodded, allowing himself a small smile. For 20 years, they had worked in secret, building what the world's governments called Project Dawn, while space agencies around the world purposely failed rocket launches and maintained the illusion of struggling with basic spaceflight. Humanity's real space program had leaped centuries ahead. "Show me the fleet status," Stone ordered, moving to the main control room. The wall-sized screen lit up, showing similar underground facilities spread across the globe. Green dots represented completed ships, 989 of them, each one capable of reaching Alpha Centauri in less than a week. "Russia finished their last ship yesterday," Miller reported. "China's final 3 will be ready tomorrow. We're ahead of schedule." Stone remembered when it all started. The first alien probe they'd discovered in the Arctic ice 30 years ago. Instead of announcing it to the world, the leading nations had made a different choice. They studied it in secret, reversed engineered its technology, and planned for the day humanity would reveal itself to the galaxy. "Any issues with the observation post on Europa?" Stone asked. A young operator named Jack shook his head. "No, sir. Our quantum signature dampeners are working perfectly. They still think those energy spikes they detect are solar anomalies." He grinned. "The aliens aren't nearly as advanced as they think they are." Stone walked to another viewport, watching as workers swarmed over the ship's hull, making final adjustments. They called this one the Dawn Dreamer, the flagship of humanity's hidden fleet. Each ship carried a crew of 300, all trained in secret facilities like this one. "Message from command, sir," another operator called out. "All nations are ready. They're just waiting for your signal to begin the launch sequence." Stone checked his watch. An old habit, since these days he could have the time projected directly into his vision through his neural implant. Another piece of technology the aliens thought humanity was centuries away from developing. "Send word to all facilities," he ordered. "Final checks on all systems. We launch in 24 hours." The control room burst into activity. 30 years of deception and preparation were about to pay off. While the aliens watched humanity's fake space program stumble and fail, the real one had quietly built a fleet that could reach any point in the solar system in hours. "Sir," Miller said quietly, joining Stone at the viewport, "do you think they'll be angry when they realize we've been fooling them all this time?" Stone watched as the Dawn Dreamer's quantum drive pulsed with a soft blue light during its final test sequence. "Probably. But they're the ones who chose to underestimate us. Humanity has always been at its best when others doubt us." The next few hours were a blur of activity. Crew members arrived through secret underground trains. Final supplies were loaded across the planet, in hidden bases beneath mountains, deserts, and oceans. The same scene played out 1,000 times. Stone made his final log entry of the day. Project Dawn. Final phase. All ships report ready. Quantum drives synchronized. Shield systems at full capacity. The world above continues its daily routine, unaware that tomorrow morning, humanity takes its real first step into the galaxy. The aliens believe we are trapped on Earth, limited by primitive technology and divided by our differences. Tomorrow, we show them how wrong they were. Tomorrow, we show them what humanity can really do. In his quarters that night, Stone looked at an old photo of Earth taken from space. By this time tomorrow, that view would be very different. 1,000 ships would rise from the Earth's surface simultaneously, and the galaxy would learn an important lesson about underestimating human determination. Officer Reed's sensors were acting strange again. She adjusted them for the fourth time that day, frowning at the readings from Earth. The energy spikes were becoming more frequent, appearing and disappearing across the planet's surface, like lightning bugs on a summer evening. "Commander Gray," she called out, "you should see this." The commander walked over to her station on Europa, all four of his eyes focusing on the display. The screen showed a pattern of unusual energy readings, stronger than anything they'd seen before. "Running full diagnostic on the sensor array," Reed reported. "But these readings, they're different from normal Earth technology." Gray dismissed her concerns with a wave of his hand. "Their primitive nuclear plants often cause interference. Log it and move on." But Reed couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. She had watched Earth for 15 years, and she'd never seen patterns like this. The energy signatures almost looked like, but no, that was impossible. Humans were centuries away from developing quantum technology. Meanwhile, in the underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Marcus Thompson ran another check on the quantum drive stabilizers. In less than 6 hours, 1,000 ships would activate their drives simultaneously. If any single drive was out of alignment, it could alert the aliens to their true capabilities before the planned reveal. "All drives showing green," his assistant reported. "Final synchronization complete." Marcus nodded, his fingers dancing across the holographic controls. They had practiced this countless times, but tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow would be real. Back on Europa Station, Commander Gray prepared for his shift change when a junior officer burst into the monitoring room. "Sir, massive energy spike detected in the Earth's southern hemisphere." Gray rushed to the main display. The readings were off the charts, but they vanished as quickly as they appeared. "Location: Antarctica." "Sir, but it's gone now." The junior officer looked confused. Could their primitive reactors cause something like this? Gray started to dismiss it, but something made him pause. In 200 years of watching Earth, he'd never seen anything quite like this. He opened a channel to Coalition headquarters. "This is Europa Station. We're detecting unusual energy patterns from Earth, requesting advanced sensor data for analysis." The response was quick and dismissive. "Maintain current observation protocols. Earth is a Class 3 pre-spacefaring civilization. Their technology cannot produce anything beyond our understanding." As Gray reluctantly closed the channel, more alerts began popping up on the monitoring stations. Small energy spikes appeared and disappeared across Earth's surface, like a planet-wide pulse. On Earth, Admiral Stone received the final reports. Every ship was ready. Every crew was in position. Decades of preparation would come down to the next few hours. "Sir," his communications officer called out, "the aliens are increasing their sensor suites. They might be detecting something." Stone smiled. "Doesn't matter now. Are the quantum signature dampeners still working?" "Yes, sir. They can detect the energy, but they can't identify its source. As far as they know, it's all just atmospheric anomalies." In his private lab, Marcus made the final adjustments to the quantum drive formula. The equations floating in the holographic display represented humanity's greatest technological achievement and their greatest secret: energy signature masking at maximum, he reported to Stone. "When these drives activate tomorrow, they won't know what hit them." Back on Europa, Reed couldn't sleep. Her shift had ended hours ago, but the strange readings bothered her. She pulled up historical data, comparing energy patterns from the last 30 years. Something had changed. The signatures were becoming more complex, more organized. She started to file a detailed report but stopped. Who would believe her? Everyone knew humans were stuck using chemical rockets and struggling with basic spaceflight. They had watched their failed launches and primitive satellites for years. As the Earth continued its quiet rotation, thousands of hidden crew members took their positions. Engineers ran final checks on quantum drives that officially didn't exist. Pilots reviewed flight plans for ships that would rewrite history. In less than 6 hours, the galaxy would learn a valuable lesson about appearances and assumptions, and Commander Gray would discover that 2 centuries of watching Earth had taught them nothing about humanity's true potential. Commander Gray was about to end his shift when every alarm on Europa Station started screaming at once. The main display erupted with warning signals from Earth, too many to count. Multiple massive openings detected on Earth's surface. Officer Reed shouted, her metallic hands flying over the controls. Size estimates. Impossible. Some are over 3 kilometers wide. Gray rushed to the observation window, his 4 eyes widening in disbelief. Through the enhanced viewing field, he could see it happening. Mountains were splitting open, desert sands were parting. Ocean surfaces were breaking as massive doors revealed themselves across Earth's surface. This can't be happening, he whispered. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Admiral Stone stood in the command center, watching as centuries of human deception came to an end. All ships, this is Dawn Command. Execute launch sequence. One by one, the underground hangar doors began to open. The Dawn Dreamer's quantum drive hummed to life, its dark hull gleaming under the artificial lights. Similar scenes played out in hidden bases across the planet. On Europa Station, the sensor readings were overwhelming the Coalition's monitoring systems. Sir, a junior officer called out in panic. I'm detecting advanced energy signatures. Thousands of them. These readings, they're showing quantum drive signatures. Gray couldn't process what he was seeing. From an opening in the Antarctic ice, a massive ship rose majestically into the air. Its hull was sleek, advanced, impossibly beyond human technology. Then another appeared from the Sahara Desert, another from the Amazon rainforest. The Rocky Mountains split apart as the Dawn Dreamer emerged, its quantum drive already active. Coalition Command. Gray transmitted urgently. Earth is launching a fleet. Advanced ships. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. Back on Earth, Admiral Stone watched the synchronized launch with pride. Decades of preparation culminated in this moment. The Dawn Dreamer took its position as the fleet's flagship, rising smoothly into the morning sky. All ships report ready, his communications officer announced. 998 ships airborne. 999. 1,000. All ships have cleared their hangars. The sight was beyond spectacular. 1,000 advanced ships, each powered by quantum drives, rising simultaneously from Earth. They moved in perfect formation, arranging themselves in a massive spiral pattern above the planet. On Europa, Commander Gray watched helplessly as his entire understanding of human civilization crumbled. The ships were everywhere now, their quantum drives lighting up his sensors like 1,000 stars. Impossible, he kept muttering. They were primitive. We watched them. Their rockets kept failing. Incoming transmission from the human fleet, Reed reported, her voice shaking. Admiral Stone's voice filled the Coalition station, calm and confident. This is Admiral Stone of the Earth Defense Fleet to all Coalition observers. For centuries, you've watched us, studied us, and underestimated us. You believed we were trapped on our world, struggling with basic spaceflight. Today, we show you the truth. The 1,000 ships moved in perfect synchronization, forming a massive ring around Earth. Their quantum drives pulsed with power that the Coalition's sensors could barely measure. We are not seeking conflict, Stone continued, but we will no longer pretend to be less than we are. The Earth Defense Fleet stands ready to protect our interests throughout this solar system and beyond. We look forward to establishing diplomatic relations as equals. Gray watched as several ships broke formation, moving to take up positions around key points in the solar system. Their speed and maneuverability were beyond anything he had believed possible for humans. Send word to Coalition Command, he ordered quietly. Earth is no longer a Class 3 civilization. They have achieved full quantum drive capability. And he paused, watching the magnificent display of power and coordination before him. They have been hiding their true technological level from us for decades. As the Earth fleet settled into its new positions, Stone made one final transmission. To all those who thought humanity was trapped on Earth, welcome to the real human space age. The mood in the Coalition emergency meeting chamber was tense. Representatives from 30 alien species had gathered to discuss the sudden appearance of Earth's fleet. On the main screen, 1,000 human ships maintained their perfect formation around their solar system. "This is unprecedented," the Coalition leader declared, his crystalline form reflecting the chamber's lights. "No species has ever hidden their true capabilities from us so completely." Commander Gray stood before the assembly, still struggling to explain how they had missed the signs. They purposely failed their rocket launches. They kept their real technology hidden underground. Every primitive satellite we saw was just theater. In the command center of the Dawn Dreamer, Admiral Stone prepared for humanity's first official meeting with the Coalition. The ship's quantum drive hummed quietly as they approached the designated meeting point near Mars. "Coalition diplomatic vessel approaching," his sensor officer reported. "Their weapons systems are powered down." Stone nodded. "Keep our weapons powered down as well, but maintain shield strength at maximum. Trust, but verify." The Coalition ship was elegant, all sweeping curves and transparent sections. It took position 5 kilometers from the Dawn Dreamer, matching their orbit around the red planet. "They're hailing us," the communications officer announced. "On screen," Stone ordered. The Coalition's chief diplomat appeared on the main display. His species resembled tall, slender humanoids with iridescent skin. "Admiral Stone," he began, "I am First Speaker Light. We have many questions." Stone allowed himself a small smile. "I imagine you do. We're ready to answer them. But first, we have some questions of our own." In other parts of the solar system, human ships were already establishing bases on various moons and planets. A group of ships began constructing a massive station near Jupiter, while others set up defensive positions around Earth's orbital space. "Your technology," First Speaker Light continued, "it's far beyond what we believed possible for your species. How did you manage to hide it for so long?" "Simple," Stone replied. "We learned from watching you. We saw how the Coalition treated emerging civilizations, how you guided their development. We decided to develop on our own terms." Back on Europa Station, Officer Reed was analyzing the human fleet's capabilities. The ship's quantum drives were unlike anything in the Coalition database. They were more efficient, more powerful, and somehow produced less detectable energy. "They didn't just catch up to us," she muttered to herself. "In some ways, they'd surpassed us." The diplomatic meeting continued as both sides carefully navigated this new reality. Stone explained how Earth's nations had united in secret after discovering the first alien probe, how they had pooled their resources and knowledge to leap centuries ahead in technology. "And now?" First Speaker Light asked, "What are humanity's intentions?" Stone's response was calm but firm. "We claim this solar system as human territory. We're happy to establish trade relations, cultural exchanges, and diplomatic ties with the Coalition. But we will not be supervised, guided, or controlled." The first speaker's iridescent skin flickered with colors, a sign of strong emotion in his species. "The Coalition has protocols for emerging civilizations." "We are not emerging," Stone interrupted politely. "We have emerged. Our fleet stands ready to defend our interests, but we prefer to be friends rather than rivals." As if to emphasize his point, another group of human ships activated their quantum drives, jumping to the Kuiper Belt to begin establishing outposts. The casual display of advanced faster-than-light travel made several Coalition observers shift uncomfortably. "Very well," First Speaker Light finally said. "The Coalition accepts Earth as a fully developed spacefaring civilization. We look forward to learning how you achieved this remarkable advancement." Stone's expression remained diplomatic, but there was a glint of pride in his eyes. "We look forward to sharing what we choose to share, First Speaker. After all, every species must keep some secrets." As the diplomatic ships parted ways, Humanity's fleet continued its work, securing their solar system and establishing their presence among the stars. The age of pretending to be primitive was over. The age of humanity's true space exploration had begun. 3 weeks after humanity's reveal, the Coalition's Grand Assembly Hall hosted its first human delegation. Major Robert Wells led the human diplomatic team, walking confidently through corridors that had never seen Earth representatives before. The hall was massive, with seats for over 50 different species. Some floated in anti-gravity fields, others sat in specialized environment chambers, and a few existed as pure energy forms contained in special vessels. All eyes, sensors, and perception organs were fixed on the human delegation. The Assembly recognizes Earth's representatives, the Coalition leader announced, his crystalline form pulsing with light. You may address the gathering. Wells stepped forward to the speaker's platform. Behind him, through the hall's transparent walls, Earth's ships could be seen patrolling the space around the Coalition's headquarters, a subtle reminder of humanity's new status. Honorable members of the Coalition, Wells began, we come seeking neither forgiveness for our deception nor permission for our advancement. We come to establish new relationships based on mutual respect. In the observation gallery, Commander Gray watched with mixed feelings. The humans he had dismissed as primitive for so long were now standing as equals before the galaxy's most powerful assembly. You must understand our concern. A delegate from a gaseous species spoke up. Your kind achieved quantum drive technology in secret. What else are you hiding? Wells smiled diplomatically. What else is the Coalition hiding? Every species has its secrets. We simply chose to keep more than most. The assembly chamber buzzed with translated whispers and electronic communications. Some delegates were impressed by human boldness, others worried about the implications. Meanwhile, near Saturn, the Dawn Dreamer monitored the construction of humanity's first major space dock. Admiral Stone watched as construction ships used technology that the Coalition had never seen before. Message from Coalition Intelligence, his communications officer reported. They're requesting details about our quantum drive design again. Stone chuckled. Send the usual response. We're happy to discuss trade agreements, but our core technologies remain classified. Back in the assembly hall, Wells was addressing the Coalition's concerns about human expansion. Yes, we are establishing bases throughout our solar system. Yes, we are building defensive installations. And yes, we are exploring beyond our system's boundaries. But we do so as a sovereign species, not as your subjects or students. A holographic delegate, representing an ancient digital species, flickered with interest. You speak of sovereignty, yet you used our own probe to advance your technology. Some might call that theft. We call it learning, Wells countered. The probe crashed on our world. Studying it was our right. How we used that knowledge was our choice. The assembly grew quiet as Wells continued. For centuries, you watched us, thinking you knew who we were. You saw our failed rockets, our clumsy satellites, our primitive space stations. You never thought to look deeper. That was your choice. Officer Reed, who had joined Commander Gray in the observation gallery, leaned forward with interest. The humans weren't just claiming their place in the galaxy. They were rewriting the rules of first contact. We propose a new type of relationship, Wells announced. Not as teachers and students, not as advanced and primitive, but as equals. Earth offers its friendship to all species who can accept this new reality. The Coalition leader's crystalline form sparkled as he processed this proposal. And if we cannot accept these terms, Wells gestured to the human ships visible through the windows, then we will continue our development alone. But I believe that would be a loss for both humanity and the Coalition. As the assembly debated, news spread throughout Coalition space. Humanity hadn't just revealed advanced technology. They had changed the very nature of how emerging civilizations might be treated in the future. The day ended with the signing of the first Earth Coalition Accord. Its terms were simple. Earth would share some of its advancements in return for access to Coalition trade routes and databases. But the most important term was unwritten. the recognition that humanity had earned its place among the stars, through cleverness rather than compliance. 1 month after Earth's dramatic reveal, Commander Gray stood in the observation lounge of the Dawn Dreamer, watching Earth's fleet conducting maneuvers near Jupiter. Admiral Stone had invited him for what humans called a drink, a social custom that apparently involved sharing stories over flavored liquids. Still having trouble believing it, Stone asked, pouring 2 glasses of amber liquid. Gray's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "You hid all this from us for 30 years. We watched your planet every day, and we saw nothing." "Sometimes," Stone replied, taking the sip, "the best place to hide is in plain sight. Every failed rocket launch, every primitive satellite, they were all part of the show." Through the window, a group of human ships demonstrated their quantum jump capability, disappearing and reappearing instantly at different points in space. The precision of their movements was remarkable. "Your quantum drive design," Gray said, studying the liquid in his glass. "It's more advanced than ours. How is that possible?" Stone smiled. "We had an advantage. While you were busy watching us, believing you knew our limits, we were studying everything about your technology. Your probe taught us what was possible. Then we found ways to make it better." In Earth orbit, construction teams were completing the planet's first official space elevator, no longer having to pretend it was beyond their capability. Ships moved back and forth, carrying materials and crew to the growing network of human space stations. "The Coalition made a mistake," Gray admitted. "We became so used to guiding developing species that we forgot they could guide themselves." Stone nodded. "That's why we kept our progress hidden. We saw how the Coalition helped other species develop. Good intentions, maybe, but it always seemed to keep them dependent on Coalition approval." A message flashed on the ship's main screen. Another human fleet had successfully established a permanent base in the Kuiper Belt. Earth's influence was expanding rapidly through the solar system. "What happens now?" Gray asked, finally trying the drink. "The Coalition is still struggling to accept Earth as an equal." "They'll adapt," Stone replied. "They have to. We're not the primitive species they thought we were, but we're also not a threat, unless someone makes us one." In the ship's command center, officers monitored transmissions from across Coalition space. More civilizations were beginning to question the traditional development path. Earth's example had sparked a quiet revolution. "We received an interesting message today," Stone mentioned casually. "Another developing species, the one in the Proxima Centauri system. They asked for Earth's guidance instead of the Coalition's." Gray nearly dropped his glass. "What did you tell them?" "We told them what we learned. True advancement comes from within. We'll trade with them, share some technology, but their path must be their own." Outside, the quantum drives of Earth's ships painted the space around Jupiter with pulses of blue light. Each pulse represented technology that the Coalition had thought impossible for humans to achieve. "There's something else you should know," Stone said, turning to face the alien commander. "That probe we found, it wasn't the only one. We've discovered 3 more in various locations around Earth. Your people weren't the only ones watching us." Gray's skin paled slightly. "Other alien civilizations?" "Yes, and they're not all as peaceful as the Coalition." Stone's expression grew serious. "That's another reason we built our fleet. The galaxy is bigger and more dangerous than either of us thought." As if to emphasize his point, a new group of ships emerged from Earth's atmosphere, the latest additions to humanity's growing fleet. They were even more advanced than the first 1,000, incorporating lessons learned from studying Coalition technology. "To the future," Stone said, raising his glass. "A future where no species is underestimated, where advancement comes in many forms, and where humanity stands ready to protect not just Earth, but all those who seek to forge their own path among the stars." Gray raised his glass in return, finally understanding what his years of observation had missed. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their deception. It was their determination to choose their own destiny.